Hello and welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be doing another subscriber requested video for a fruitcake, and this recipe was requested by Japic. So I've gone out, I've done a lot of research on different kinds of fruitcakes and kind of looked at them and taken them apart and decided what I like in a fruitcake and what I don't like in a fruitcake. And the biggest thing I don't like is all the citron and the candied orange peel and the candied lemon peel. So I've left all that out and kind of taken an amalgamation of 2 or 3 different recipes and kind of combined them all together to make one fruitcake. So let's go ahead and go over the ingredients so that we can get started. You're going to need 1 cup of flour, 1 stick of butter, 4 eggs, 1 cup of packed brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon of the following spices: cinnamon, nutmeg, clove, mace, and allspice, as well as a teaspoon of salt and baking powder. You're going to need 1/2 pound of golden raisins, 1/2 pound of chopped dates. And I went ahead and bought the whole dates and then chopped them myself because I found that the pre-chopped dates were fairly dry in the bags that they come in, but the whole ones had stayed moist, and we are going to need that moistness. I also have a 1/4 pound of chopped up dried apricots, as well as a 1/4 pound of dried cherries. And then you will also need 4 ounces each of the red Christmas cherries, as well as the green Christmas cherries. I believe they're called like glacé cherries or candied cherries. And the very last thing we're going to need is an entire pound of pecan halves. And you do want the halves for this. And if you don't like pecans, you can use walnuts. And I think that's probably going to be about the only 2 nuts that are going to go really well with the spices that I've combined for this recipe. So let me get these ingredients out of our way and we'll go ahead and start getting everything mixed up. Now the first thing we're going to start mixing together is our fruits and nuts. I'm just going to go ahead and dump the whole 1 pound bag of nuts in there, as well as the dates, the raisins, the cherries, the apricots. And I just want to start stirring these all together. And by doing it this way, you're going to have a really good mixture here. Instead of trying to dump them all in individually, you might end up with a larger section of one type of fruit or nut when we go to mix these into the batter. And let me go ahead and add these in. And if you have to, don't be afraid to go in there with your hands. Just make sure that they're clean before you do it. There we go. And then our candied cherries. Alright guys, that looks pretty good so far. So let's move that out of our way. And I'm going to go ahead and bring in my bowl that I've gone ahead and let the butter come to room temperature. And I've kind of mashed it around a little bit just to help get it started for the mixing process. So I'm going to go ahead and cream my butter and sugar together. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and scrape the sides of my bowl down, and I'm going to go ahead and add in my vanilla extract now, as well as our first egg. And there is our last egg. Now at this point I'm going to go ahead and add my spices in, as well as my salt and baking powder. And we're going to mix these all together. Remember to scrape down the sides of your bowls so you get all the spices incorporated in. And I think that looks pretty good. And the combination of the spices smells so good. This is almost a spiced fruitcake more than a traditional holiday fruitcake. I think it's going to turn out really well. Let's get this all together. Right, guys, I've got this mixed together. I'm just going to go around and get any remaining dry flour off the edges and stir the last remaining bit together by hand. Now you can tell this is a very small amount of batter for all the fruits and nuts that we're getting ready to add into here, and that's exactly what you want. Fruitcake is an extremely dense, fruity, nutty cake that doesn't actually have a lot of batter in it. It's basically just enough to hold the whole thing together. So let's go ahead and start getting our fruits and nuts added in. Okay, let's go ahead. I got everything in here now. So let's get it all stirred together. And while I'm doing this, I'd like to remind you guys of the Gamers and Geeks playlist that Japic and I have going on our channels. If you guys would like to be a part of that, it's really simple. All you have to do is go out and make a cooking video and then post it to your channel. And once you've done that, let either Japic or I know in the comment section either of our latest cooking videos, or if you're a part of our Discord servers, you can let us know over there as well. And we will gladly go over and check out your videos and get them added to the playlist. Hey guys, this is coming together really well. Seems like we've pretty much got everything well coated with our batter. And I think we are, I think we're ready for the pan. So let me go ahead and grab that, and we'll get this thing over into the oven. Today I'm going to be using a traditional tube pan. If you wanted, you could divide this in half and bake it in 2 loaf pans, or you could even go so far as to make little tiny miniature, like cupcake sized fruit cakes if you wanted to. You would just have to kind of adjust your baking time for each of those. Now we're going to be baking this in a 275 degree oven for about an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes. This is a slow, low heat recipe, and the reason we're doing it like that is to help prevent this cake from drying out, because as you can tell, there is not a lot of batter in here, so all the fruits and nuts can tend to dry your fruit cake out, and we don't want that. And when you're scraping your bowl out, you do want to try and make sure you get as much of that batter that's sticking to the edges of your bowl out as you can. Because again, this does not have a lot of batter, and every little bit is going to matter. So now all I'm going to do is even this out and press it down. Alright guys, I think I've got this pretty well pressed down. Alright guys, this is going to be going into, again, my 275 degree oven. I'm going to be putting it on the middle of the oven, and then on my bottom shelf I have a cake pan that is filled with boiling water that I've already gone ahead and placed into the oven to help start creating a steamy, moist environment inside the oven itself. And what that's going to do is allow our cake to stay moist while it's baking for the hour and a half. I will check it then, and if it does need a little bit more time, I will adjust the time from there, and I will let you know the full baking time once I get it completely done. Alright guys, I will see you in a couple hours. Alright guys, our fruitcake is out of the oven. It baked for about an hour and 40 minutes until a toothpick inserted in the middle of it came out clean. The only thing we have left to do now is I have some vanilla flavored coffee syrup that we're going to brush over the top. And I've got about 1/4 of a cup of that. Now if you didn't want to use the coffee syrup, you could certainly brush this with some brandy or even a little bit of bourbon if you're into the spirits, so to say. But for now, I think we're just going to go with this coffee syrup, and this is just going to help keep the cake nice and moist. You're also going to want to store this in an airtight container to help keep this cake nice and moist. For now, let's get this nice and brushed with our coffee syrup. This cake smells amazing. I tasted a few of the little crumbs that stuck to the edge of the pan, and it's really good. The spices in it really come through. Alright guys, I think that is going to do us, so let's go ahead and slice a piece of this. And so there we go. You can see all the nuts and fruits layered in there. It smells so good. Let's go ahead and try a little nibble of this. Don't think I want quite that big of a piece of cherry though. Alright guys, this fruitcake has turned out so well. It tastes like a heavily spiced fruit and nut cake. Definitely not your traditional store-bought or even great-grandma's traditional recipe. I think even if you don't like fruitcake, if you try this one, I think you guys would definitely enjoy it. I'd like to say a special thank you to Japic for recommending that I make this one. I've had a lot of fun doing it for you guys. Remember to check out the Gamers and Geeks playlist, as well as my Elder Scrolls and Fallout Cookbook playlists. I will leave links down in the descriptions below. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave me a comment down below. I always like hearing from everyone. But for now, thank you so very much for joining me today. I've been Vault Girl. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I hope I see you in the next one.